When Jimmy Buffett passed away, he left behind more than just a musical legacy. He left behind a $275 million estate. But instead of smoothly honoring his wishes, that fortune has sparked a bitter legal battle between his widow, Jane Buffett, and his longtime accountant. What should have been a well-structured trust has turned into a public courtroom drama filled with accusations of secrecy, mismanagement, and betrayal. At the heart of the dispute isn't just money, it's control, trust, and conflicting interpretations of Jimmy's final wishes. So, what really went wrong? And how can a legacy this big fall into such chaos? Let's break it down. The setting: a $275 million estate under scrutiny. Jimmy Buffett was more than just a musician. He was a cultural icon, the embodiment of carefree island vibes and escapism, with hits like Margaritaville that became anthems for millions. Beyond music, Buffett built an empire: restaurants, merchandise, hotels, retirement communities, and investments. When he passed away, his estate was estimated to be worth a staggering $275 million. On paper, that's an enormous fortune, enough to secure his family's future for generations. But as the saying goes, the devil is in the details, and, in this case, the details have spiraled into a complex, emotional legal battle. The trust and its trustees, the battle lines. Drawn central to this conflict is the trust established by Jimmy Buffett to manage and distribute his estate. Trusts are meant to provide a clear roadmap for handling assets after someone's death, ideally reducing confusion and dispute. In this case, there were two co-trustees appointed: Richard Mosiner, Buffett's longtime accountant who managed financial affairs for years, and Jane Buffett, Jimmy's wife of 45 years. Almost immediately, cracks appeared. Jane filed a lawsuit accusing Mosiner of withholding critical financial information and mismanaging the estate's assets. She described his behavior as openly hostile toward her, alleging she was being given only a fraction of what should be coming from the estate, less than $2 million annually from a $275 million trust. When you calculate the return on that amount, it's less than 1%, a figure that raised eyebrows even among financial experts watching the case. Trust betrayed? The breakdown of communication and transparency. One of the most painful aspects of this legal dispute is the apparent breakdown of communication and transparency. Jane Buffett says she was left in the dark about how the estate was being managed. Instead of receiving regular, detailed financial statements and projections, she claims that for over a year, she saw no formal reports. When she finally pressed for information, Mosiner allegedly provided only rudimentary bank statements, not the professional financial summaries one would expect in managing such a vast and complex estate. Imagine the frustration and helplessness of being in Jane's shoes. The person you shared your life with is gone, and now you're supposed to trust someone else to manage their legacy. Yet, without clear communication and transparency, doubt and suspicion fester. It's a recipe for conflict and resentment. A counterpunch: Mosiner's perspective and the fight over control. Mosiner didn't sit back quietly. He responded with a countersuit, accusing Jane of interfering in trust decisions, not cooperating with him as co-trustee, and even attempting to exclude one of their daughters from the list of beneficiaries. According to Mosiner, the structure of the trust itself was intentional, designed by Jimmy Buffett to limit Jane's control over the estate. This claim strikes at the core of the dispute: control. Mosiner says Jimmy didn't fully trust Jane to manage the finances and, therefore, structured the trust to restrict her authority. But here's the catch. There's no explicit written documentation, letter, or audio recording from Jimmy that confirms this intention. Without that, it's a he said, she said scenario, leaving two people interpreting the same documents in wildly different ways. The complications of estate structure and the absence of clear instructions. Estate planning, particularly for high-net-worth individuals, is notoriously complicated. It requires a delicate balance between legal safeguards, financial strategy, and personal wishes. But even with expert legal advice, the emotional element can't be ignored. In Buffett's case, the lack of clear structure and instructions has created significant turmoil. Jane contends that certain key assets, including multiple homes in Florida, New York, and even St. Bart's, were supposed to go directly to her. Instead, Mosiner placed them into the general estate, giving the trustees discretion over their fate, whether to sell, rent, or otherwise manage those properties. To Jane, this was a betrayal of Jimmy's wishes and a violation of trust. One can only imagine the stress involved when such important, sentimental assets become pawns in a legal chess game. It's not just about money. It's about memories tied to places where a family built its life. The missing clarity. The importance of documenting intent. This entire saga underlines the paramount importance of documenting intent clearly in estate planning. If Jimmy Buffett truly intended to restrict Jane's control, a simple letter or recorded message could have made all the difference. Such documentation acts as a guiding light for trustees and heirs, minimizing misinterpretation and personal conflict. Without it, assumptions take over. Each party claims to know what Jimmy would have wanted, but without evidence, those claims are vulnerable to challenge. The uncertainty amplifies the conflict, turning what should be a time of honoring a legacy into a courtroom battleground. Money matters, investment returns, and unanswered questions. Another flashpoint in this dispute concerns the management and returns on the estate's investments. Jane says she was told the trust's holdings, including Buffett's own Margaritaville brand, would only yield about $2 million annually. But court filings reveal that just a 20% stake in Margaritaville paid out $14 million over an 18-month period. This discrepancy raises crucial questions. Where did the additional money go? Why weren't those future payouts factored into Jane's expectations or financial planning? Was the trust underperforming, or were earnings being withheld or reinvested without clear communication? These unresolved financial mysteries only deepen the mistrust and fuel legal contention. The human cost, time, money, and legacy lost to legal fees. The legal battle isn't just a financial headache. It's a drain on resources and emotions. Since the start of 2024 alone, the trust has accumulated roughly $1.7 million in legal fees. That's money not going to Jane, the Buffett children, or any effort to preserve Jimmy's legacy. Instead, it's disappearing into the court system, swallowed by lawyers' bills and the costs of prolonged litigation. This is a sobering reminder that the absence of clear, enforceable estate plans can cost far more than just dollars. It can cost peace of mind, family harmony, and the preservation of a loved one's life work. The bigger picture, control over Margaritaville and the Buffett brand. Beyond the raw numbers and legal documents, there's another layer to this story: the fight over control of the Margaritaville brand itself. The brand isn't just a collection of trademarks and assets. It's the essence of Jimmy Buffett's public legacy. It includes restaurants, hotels, merchandise, music rights, and more. Whoever controls Margaritaville holds significant influence over how Buffett's legacy is shaped and remembered. For many observers, this raises uncomfortable questions about the true motivation behind the lawsuit. Is it about protecting family interests? Or is it a power struggle over the brand that defined Buffett's life and career? Lessons learned. What this means for you and your family. This story isn't just celebrity drama. It's a cautionary tale that speaks to anyone who has ever thought about or needs to think about estate planning. When money, family, and trust intertwine, things can get messy fast if clarity and structure aren't prioritized. If you're building your own estate plan or helping a loved one create theirs, take these lessons seriously. Be clear and specific. Outline who gets what, when, and how with no room for ambiguity. Choose trustees wisely. Consider appointing neutral professional trustees like banks or trust companies who aren't personally invested in the outcomes. Document intent thoroughly. Letters, recorded messages, and detailed instructions can prevent future disputes. Require structured reporting. Regular financial updates and third-party audits keep everyone informed and accountable. Include dispute resolution paths. Mediation or arbitration clauses can save millions in legal fees and preserve relationships. Communicate openly. Don't wait until after you're gone for questions or concerns to surface. A final thought: protecting legacies while we still can. At the end of the day, legacies aren't just about the money or the assets we leave behind. They're about the care we take while we're still here, making sure our wishes are respected, our loved ones are protected, and the memories we cherish are honored. Jimmy Buffett's story is a powerful reminder that without careful planning, even the largest fortunes and longest relationships can become tangled in conflict. So take a moment to think about your own legacy. If something happened tomorrow, what's the one thing you want to make absolutely crystal clear to your family? Write it down. Talk about it. Because that one act of clarity might just save your loved ones a world of pain.